necessarily reflect or represent those of the owners, management, or advertisers of Pacific Telestations, Inc. This message has been brought to you by the stations of KUAM.
You're watching Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Good evening, Guam. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to this edition of the Buzz. Boy, we're talking law. We got some heavy hitters here, some heavy lawyers tonight. We have the Attorney General of Guam, Liz Barrett-Anderson, and of course, Acting Chief Prosecutor Basil Mallon. We know her in Guam. It's Liz and Basil. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening.
Hi, Jess. Good evening.
Basil, how you guys doing?
Very good, very good. Thank you for inviting us or asking us to come in.
It's always a pleasure. There are a couple things I'm going to talk about.
Sure.
Some controversial stuff, but let's start off. Crime Victims' Rights Week. We're in the midst of it all.
Yes.
Okay? Tell me about it. Okay, if I'm a crime victim, I've known somebody as a crime victim, the awareness that happens about. So at the end of the day, what good is the awareness to that crime victim?
You know, you raise a good point because a lot of times these national weekly events, or you can say this is National something something month or something something week, and you know we have our federal grant requirements, and we celebrate along with the national level. So the awareness is good, but personally I'll tell you, Jess, we need to have National Crime Victims Awareness Week every week, 52 weeks of the year, not just this one month here. And since I took office, and I told a lot of people during the campaign, crime victims is a priority for me. It was one of my 7. And I'm here on the show to bring awareness because this is the week, but it doesn't mean that, at least for the Attorney General's office, it's just focused to this week. So I've got a lot of stuff that's kind of running. If you want to ask me about some of those things, some of them have already come out in the news media. An automated victim notification system, our Criminal Injuries Compensation Commission, we're working their rules and regulations to get them going. B.J. Cruz, Honorable Senator B.J. Cruz, just introduced a victim advocate privilege. Husband, wife, attorney-client, doctor-patient. So what is revealed between a victim and a victim advocate is confidential, and it cannot be revealed, even in court. So there are a lot of kind of things we're doing. I announced some of that this week. But there's a lot more.
So again, back to my question in the sense of the victim themselves, okay? Now, I think, you know, and maybe the courts have done this all along, or maybe now we just have more awareness. But in the end of the day, the victim of the crime, how are they made
aware?
A sense, not necessarily aware, but more whole or close to wholeness in regards to what rights they have right now? I mean, if they lost a loved one because of it, or they lost something very valuable and not to find it, or whatever it may be, how can this bring a little closure or made whole as a part of this rights that they have now?
It's not an easy question, Jess. It's not an easy question because the criminal justice system is very complicated. Basil could talk about the Victims' Bill of Rights.
Okay.
And so victims need to be aware of what are their rights under Guam law. And every stage of a criminal justice process, victims need to participate, need to be aware. And I'll be very honest with you, overall as a criminal justice system, we don't do the best job. And I'd like to try to work to better that. I can tell you at the tail end of a case, there's restitution, but a lot of times 85% of these defendants that are ordered to pay restitution, they don't get jobs. There's no money. So I said a few minutes ago, the Criminal Injuries Compensation Fund has also been a mechanism for victims to get restitution paid. Now, there are certain requirements. But for 20 years, the Criminal Injuries Compensation Fund has been like a roller coaster. It was functional, and then it dipped, and then it went back up, and it's dipped. We're kind of we're getting back up now. I've asked the governor to replenish the fund to about at least $500,000 to $600,000 because we have 3 commission members that are ready, able, and willing to work and take applications. It's a tough process. So there are some issues on the front end. in the middle so the victim can feel a part of the criminal justice system, and at the tail end there's restitution
Sure.
and or criminal injuries
Sure.
compensation.
Yeah, and Basil, and then you deal with this on a daily basis.
Right. You know, and one of the things that has really come out has been very helpful with General Anderson in the office now is she's really put the focus on the victims and making sure that we do everything we can in our office to contact the victims. And it's a very tough task because a lot of times we have very little contact information. Our victim moves and we aren't able to keep track of them. But she's given us a very clear mandate: locate that victim, find out what's up with that victim, to answer your question from earlier, what's so important, victims want to be heard, and we do our best to bring them in and to listen to them. Unfortunately, we only have, I think, 10 advocates.
Sure.
And a good number, so you appreciate this. Last year, the last number, we have the full stats, we had 3,000 victim contacts with those 10 people.
Sure. Wow.
You know, that's a lot of calling and bringing people in and talking to them. And so these advocates get out there, and they're our front line with bringing the victims in, and then we meet with them. The prosecutors meet with them, and it's our goal to make sure we listen to the victims. We try and do it for every victim. You know, we know we have some that we're not able to, and
Sure.
you know, and then we feel bad when we miss a victim, but we want to make sure that the victim has a voice.
Now, again, you've sat behind the bench there, you know, and you've heard now. How important is it, again, a victim, I guess, is it upon sentencing that the victim can speak up?
As a judge, the voice of the victim to me was always important.
Okay.
When defendant wanted to be released, I would ask, has the victim been notified in Basel? And the prosecutors do that through the victim advocates. At time of a plea agreement in a criminal sexual conduct case, I'll ask, where is the victim impact statement? At time of sentencing. So I think most of our trial judges are victim-centric. What I think I found when I came into the Attorney General's office, Basil just alluded to it, we have over 4,000 active cases. We charge 2,000 a year, and then we have the carryover from the last year of another 2,000. And it is humanly impossible to expect that 10 people can get to all the victims in the charged cases. By the way, Jesse, I'm not talking about the victims whose cases have never been solved and are not part of the process. So I had one of the advocates suggest and said, General Barrett Anderson, what about this VINE system, Victim Information Notification Every Day? And I said, well, what is that? And then I started reading up on it. It's been in existence since 1994. It was as a result of a woman who was murdered because a domestic violence defendant was released. It's in every 50 states. Some form of automated victim notification system. It's in every state. And I'm going, where have we been on Guam? I was just kind of, are we in another planet? So in order to assist our victim advocates, our VWAS advocates, and maybe just to assist any victim, the Superior Court of Guam is interested. The AG's office has the federal funds. The Fed said, yes, you can use it for that. And I'm really hoping to tie in an automated system. I'd also love to see an app. Wouldn't it be great to have an app?
On my phone, right?
An app. A victim of crime app.
Yeah, sure.
That, you know, you can touch the app and it again brings up your Bill of Rights.
Put your case number there.
It wouldn't have the case number.
It won't have the case number?
No,
Okay.
I'm looking at an app that tells you what are your rights as a victim.
Oh, okay.
And if you, who to contact, where to go, et cetera. But the notification system of where's your case, who's been released, is the person on violation.
Sure.
That would be more the call-in, because that's got to tie into the court.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think we're of that age. We're the 21st century.
No,
so I'm hoping.
absolutely. No, I totally agree. You know, I totally agree. But we also, I'm thinking, I'm going, we have that app. We have the WikiLeaks. You know, I mean, the latest one is about Guam, right? Hawaii being invaded, and let's do Guam instead, because so we won't offend the veterans in Hawaii. But anyway, that being said, again, no, I mean, it's great to be able to have that application.
Something a lot more modern, rather than the human factor. So.
We're gonna,
If I could, before you switch subjects, because I really want to commend General Anderson. she didn't bring me here to just be her audience, but
You get your raise.
oh, good, good.
Just
One of the
joking.
things that has happened recently, for the longest time, our advocates were funded with a federal grant that really tied their hands. We now have 2 advocates who are locally funded.
Locally funded.
And that makes it, they're much more flexible in what they can do.
No federal restrictions.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
okay.
restrictions. They can go and do things for us, for the prosecution, to make sure we are listening completely to those victims.
So basically, what you're saying, you want to move to a time where all of your advocates are locally
Sustained,
funded.
yes. Because,
Yeah.
Jesse, you know, you've been in the
Sure.
business long enough. When you get federal money, it comes with strings attached.
Sure.
So we can get rid of those strings, and we can use the advocates in
Sure,
far
sure.
more
Yeah.
useful ways.
Okay. Okay. Got to pay some bills. We'll come back. We'll switch a little bit to a couple of different topics, a little more controversial. Okay.
Shoot.
Be right back.